A 15-year-old girl left home early in the morning and went to the bus stop to get to the hairdresser. She never showed up there, and concerned relatives contacted the police. The events that took place over the next few days shocked and changed the small Scottish town forever. In this video, we will tell you what happened to Paige Doherty and why this case is called a disgrace to the judicial system. 15-year-old Paige Doherty lived in the small town of Clydebank, which is located in west-central Scotland and is part of the large city of Glasgow. The girl lived in a friendly and loving family with her mother and stepfather. In addition to her, the family raised 3 more children. On Friday evening, March 18, 2016, Paige asked her parents to go visit a friend and spend the night with her. And on Saturday morning, already from a friend, she planned to go to work at the hairdresser. When Paige did not return home in the evening on Saturday, March 19, and her phone was unreachable, her parents raised the alarm and contacted the police. It turned out that the girl left a friend's house on Saturday morning at approximately 8:10 a.m. and had to take the bus to go to work, where she worked part-time as a hairdresser's assistant. The bus stop is just a few minutes walk from my friend's house. The hairdresser where the girl worked was about half an hour away by bus, with a transfer in the center of Glasgow. But she never showed up at work that day. Police decided to focus their search on Paige's route from her home to the bus stop, because interviews with bus drivers revealed that they could not remember Paige getting on or standing at the bus stop. And given the fact that there were few people at the stop that Saturday morning, drivers could have noticed and remembered the girl if she had appeared there. On the morning of Monday, March 21, 2016, the superintendent of police called on the local Clydebank community for assistance. He asked for the public's assistance in obtaining information about Paige's movements between Saturday, March 19, and Monday, March 21. On the same day, at about midday, the body of a girl was found by 2 passers-by in a wooded area next to a footpath on a busy route connecting Clydebank and Glasgow. Paige was found just 2 kilometers from the bus stop, which she never reached that day. The next day, Detective Duncan Sloan, who is leading the investigation into Paige's murder, was interviewed by the media. He again asked for the public's help. "I need people who knew Paige. Perhaps she had some problems. Tell me everything you know or heard. This may lead to a motive that will help understand the circumstances of the tragedy that occurred." In talking with family, friends, and teachers, I can say that Paige was a warm and kind person. She had many plans for the future. She knew what she wanted from life and how to achieve it. It is very unfortunate that these plans were not destined to come true. Please respond, those who have even, as it seems to him, insignificant information regarding Paige. You will be very helpful in the investigation, the detective asked. That same day, Ashi Ahmed, the owner of a small grocery store on Fleming Avenue, called the police. He said he saw Paige buying a sandwich at a nearby Delicious Deli at about 8:20 a.m. On Saturday, a girl walked past my store, and I waved to her, and she waved back. She was there last week and bought a meatloaf. This Saturday she went to John's next door and bought a sandwich there. Based on this information, the police decided to review recordings from surveillance cameras installed in shopping pavilions on Fleming Avenue. Paige was last seen on video footage at 8:21 a.m. entering John Letham's Delicious Delicatessen store. She never left the store. Just 10 minutes after Paige entered the store, the roller shutters on the front door were drawn down. Police detained 32-year-old John Letham at his workplace on Thursday, March 24. Detectives conducted an interview, during which Letham denied any involvement in the girl's murder. Meanwhile, searches were carried out at the store and at Letham's home. Investigators paid special attention to recordings from surveillance cameras. It was they who later became the main evidence of Letham's involvement in the crime. So shortly after Paige visits his store, Letham closes his store and runs to the store next door. Then he returns to his store and closes himself in it for about an hour. Then he leaves the store and the footage shows him performing some manipulations on the open trunk of his car. When the owner of the store he visited was interviewed, it was confirmed that Lethem had purchased gloves and cleaning supplies. Detectives working the scene of the body's discovery also found surveillance video from a nearby high-rise building that showed a car matching Lethem's parked near the trail on the morning of March 21, the day Paige was found. The image quality was unclear and only allowed us to see how Lethem, after standing at the trunk for some time, went briefly deeper into the forest and then returned and quickly drove away. Fueled by overwhelming evidence, Johnny Lethem confessed to the murder of Paige Daugherty. That morning, he said, Paige came in to buy a sandwich for breakfast. At the same time, she asked, does he need sellers, since she was looking for a part-time job closer to home. Lethem was just looking for sellers. He asked her to go to the back office and fill out a form. According to Lethem, they talked peacefully until he found out the girl's age. He immediately refused to consider her candidacy and said that he already had a suitable person for this position. Then, from his words, Paige threatened that if she did not get this job, she would go to the police and tell them that he had harassed her. The words infuriated Lethem, as he had a relative who had big problems in his life after he was placed on the sex offenders register. Lethem said he doesn't remember what happened next. After I came to my senses, I cleaned my office and returned to my work duties in the store. On Sunday, Lethem went to a nearby amusement park with his wife and children. And only on Monday, March 21, Paige's body was taken to the forest and left not far from a crowded path in a visible place. According to him, he wanted the girl to be found as soon as possible so that the family could bury her with dignity. Such incidents are very rare in Scotland. The prosecution began its speech. Paige's untimely passing shook the community to its core, especially because the person responsible for her death turned out to be an ordinary man, with no criminal record, no history of mental illness, a successful businessman, loving husband, and father of 2 young children. The support from the local community has been greatly appreciated, and I hope Paige's family can take some comfort from the trial today. The defense focused on Lethem's emotional state following Paige's allegations of harassment, which evoked John's memory of events involving a close relative who suffered similar accusations. The judge, while sentencing Lethem, noted that, of course, the man had committed a serious crime. The only thing is that she cannot understand how a happily married man who runs a successful business can commit such a terrible act. On October 12, 2016, Lethem was sentenced to life imprisonment with parole eligibility after 27 years at a Glasgow court. However, in February 2017, after Lethem filed an appeal against the court's decision, the minimum period after which parole is possible has been reduced from 27 to 23 years. This was done in view of the fact that he showed remorse for his actions. It is worth considering that the 8 months he spent under arrest are also protected. At the time of his arrest, he was 32 years old. It turns out that he will be able to leave prison at the age of 54. In this whole story, only one thing remains unclear: what his motive was. Lethem continues to adhere to the theory of blackmail. But what really happened in that cafe? Paige was only there for 10 minutes. How could a man go so far as to kill in such a short period of time? According to the investigation, Lethem could have started pestering the girl, and she threatened to either call the police or inform her parents. It's simply hard to imagine other options. He did not prepare for this crime in advance. It was a spontaneous decision. If everything really happened according to this scenario, the verdict seems completely unfair. Released at the age of 54, Lethem could live a long life in freedom. Who knows if he might want to take someone else's life? Paige's mother, Pamela Monroe, founded Paige's promise to teach self-defense to children and support families whose children have been victims of homicide.